Hey guys, today we are going to embroider some towels, but quick, easy project. But first of all, my name is Kelly. Welcome back if you are new here. I do a lot of sewing and embroidery, other crafty things. We might do some sublimation, screen printing, but mostly we focus on embroidery because that's what my Etsy shop is. If you are interested in any of those things, please click the subscribe and the bell notification. Helps me out a lot to grow this and to bring you these how-to videos. So like I said, today we're going to do a towel. I don't know if you guys have this problem, but after a while, our towels really get to where they smell bad. And I am pretty anal about my laundry. So I don't know what the deal is. We had this particular brand too that really got rank after a while. Now we do use our towels a few times in the week before we wash them. That's normal, right? You guys do that? I hope we're not weird. But so after a few days and then we wash them and they just, I don't know, we had this one brand that was really getting stinky and they're not that old, so I'll donate them. Maybe the animal shelter can use them or something. But I wanted to kind of revamp our towels this year. I know, pretty exciting stuff, eh, in the Scott house. So the ones I got for my younger two kids, I wanted to just put their names on it, kind of for fun and kind of because they share a bathroom. And even if they're different colors, inevitably my son will yell, "Which is my towel?" So they have their names on them. Then not only do they know whose is whose, but if it's on the floor, I know who to yell at to come pick it up. So yeah, I don't think I'm gonna embroider for me and my husband, but for the kids, I just thought it was fun. I know this is backwards on your screen, and actually I was looking at it. I think it's a little off, it's a little crooked, but whatever, it's just for me and my family, and I'm about to make him another one, so it'll be fine. Here's the deal with the towels. This is the reason why people, I think, get nervous about doing a towel, is that it's got this nap on it. So, you know, towels are a little fuzzy, they got all those loops on them, and people are intimidated by them, but they're actually a really simple project, especially if you have some fast frames or mighty hoops. I use I always call them fast frames, but mine are actually the Durkee brand, so they're easy frames. I use the easy frames and sticky stabilizer. You could use the mighty hoop, which is the magnetic kind, and those would be good too because it's good for thick stuff. You wouldn't be able to hoop this traditionally with a traditional hoop. Let me show you. Let's see. I actually don't ever use my traditional hoops. I could really pack them away and I would never notice the difference. Well, actually, that's not true. The biggest traditional hoop that I have, I do use it for in the hoop projects, which I've said this before and I haven't done it yet, but I am going to do a video. I like to do some bags in the hoop, and then I bought this pattern for dolls in the hoop that's really cute. Those I do, not this one, but I use the bigger traditional frame for this. But with these traditional frames, if you tried to hoop a towel, it's just going to be too thick. Like, you're not going to be able to get this and your stabilizer and really get it to hold it steady. So you do need either the fast frames, easy frames, a mighty hoop, or you can float it on these traditional hoops. I'm going to be honest, I'm not a pro at this because I just don't do it. I have the easy frames, but essentially to float an item, you put your stabilizer in your hoop and then you either use like a spray adhesive and stick the item down without squishing it between here, or you could pin it. Again, that's not how I do mine, so today I'm just going to show you how I do mine. But so again, I have the Durkee Easy Frame. I use a sticky stabilizer. I use a cheap sticky stabilizer. I use just the Pellon, I don't know how you pronounce it, from Joann's that I usually buy only if I have a 50 or 60% off coupon. But the reason why, I'll show you a little bit more when we go to unhoop it, but the reason why the cheap stuff is better is because it's not quite as sticky. And if your sticky stabilizer is too sticky, you're gonna, when you go to peel it off, it's gonna get caught in these loops. And again, I'll show you a little bit more of that when we get to that part of the video. But I'm gonna take you over here and show you how I hoop it. The most important part, which is the water-soluble stabilizer, which we're gonna put on top. This stuff, you only want to use it for it's not gonna hurt anything, but you only wanna use it for things like this that have a high nap on it. I keep seeing in some groups I'm in and some discussions that people put it on a lot of stuff, and that's pointless. It doesn't help anything. If you've got your bobbin thread showing through or some bird nesting or something like that, it's putting this on top or adding extra stabilizer probably isn't your problem. It seems to be kind of this pattern where people will over-stabilize everything. And stabilizer is important, and it is something you need to know about and what you're using, but just adding more stabilizer isn't going to help your problem. It's probably either your tension or you've got the wrong stabilizer underneath, but this stuff is just for fluffy things. So we used it before when we did the minky pillowcases. So you would want to use it in minky or some sort of terry cloth, maybe fleece. You don't have to with fleece, but it would be another time that you might want to. A really, really thick blanket or something with a like an extra fluffy, really nice towel. These are just Target, $6 or whatever. And I think right now there was a coupon for 10% off. So that's why we bought all of our towels. But if you had a really plush, that's the word I'm looking for. I keep saying fluffy, but I really mean plush. If you had something really, really plush, you might have to do what's called a knockdown stitch. We won't go into the detail of that today, but for the most part, most of what you're gonna do on a towel, a hand towel, one of these kind of towels, you just need a regular stabilizer on bottom and this on top. Now you could use, if you were using the Mighty Hoop, or even with this one, you could just use a regular tearaway. Tearaway. It doesn't have to be the sticky. I just like the sticky. I'm a big fan of the sticky. So let's go over here and show you how I hoop this and some of the tricks with a towel. All right, we've got our easy frame and some of the sticky stabilizer. So I just happened, this is kind of like a scrap piece, and it just happened to be the right size. With this sticky stabilizer, you just kind of, just like a sticker. Get under there with your nail, peel it off. And then on these easy frames are nice because where this red, maroonish red label is, that's the top of your hoop. So you just flip it over and put your stabilizer on. I did see someone, well, I've seen a couple things lately that have been of interest to me. I saw one girl do this, and she was really, really careful about making sure this was nice and tight. And I thought that was kind of funny because that's not what I do. I wonder if that's the right way. I wonder if I've been doing it wrong. I also saw somebody who didn't bother, like they had cut, I think it was the embroidery nurse. She cuts hers like kind of the size of the hoop. I've always cut mine a little bigger so that I can fold it over. It just makes me feel better, I guess. But she's right. You don't have to do it that way. It's pretty, well, especially the nicer stuff that is stickier, it'll stick just fine. So this is the part that attaches to your arm. And I don't want a whole bunch of towel this way. So I'm actually going to stitch the whole design upside down. Let's see, let's find our towel. So I just took and I marked the center point on my towel. And I don't know, maybe somebody who comes from a very traditional Southern background knows, and that's a generalization, that Southern people monogram their towels, but I don't know what the hard and fast rule is in terms of where things go. I think personally that you just take a little bit of creative license and put them wherever you want. Like you could put it down here if you had just a smaller name and just wanted something cutesy down here. I'm putting mine up above this band. And of course, every towel is different. You know, some have a really huge band and you could even put it on the band, really. But we're going to put it up here. That's where we put the last one. So I just marked my center point by folding the towel in half. And then, like I said, we're doing this to where it's going to be hooped or, you know, stitched out upside down. So I take that pin and I find these frames have a little notch right there. So you find that notch and you line up your center point. I believe with the last one, I took this line that's on the band, this bottom line, and lined it up with this. I clearly did not do a great job because it was a little crooked. But again, it's just for me and my family, so I didn't really take the time to do it perfectly. I would if it was for someone. But now we've got that center point, and so we can take our pin out and just kind of run your finger along there to see, and that looks pretty straight. So we just squish it down. It is sticky enough to where, you know, it's going to hold like this. If you really wanted to, you could put some clips here if it made you feel better. But this should be fine just like this. So then the only other thing that we do that's different than any other thing that you would embroider is we put a little bit of this water-soluble stabilizer on it. So I cut it, you know, again, I'm always cheap and I try to save money where I can. So I know from doing the last one that the design takes up the whole frame. So cut that, but it's only like 2 inches tall. So you put it on there and then you can pin it. I've been known to just kind of hold it on the machine as it's stitching those first few stitches and then remove my hands. Now, obviously with that, you run the risk of getting a needle through your finger, which would not be awesome. And you hear about people doing that. I don't think with the Brother, with the PR655, I don't think it's as much of a problem because it's got, if you have one, you know, it's got that circle around the needle, which would hit your finger before the needle would hit your finger. So hopefully you would have time to get out of the way. But you just kind of pin this down and now you've got that. So let's take it over to the machine. All right, so to load these on the machine, if you don't have an easy frame or you're brand new to them, to using them, you just line these little notches up with your screws and slide them in. Hopefully they're unscrewed enough. Sometimes you got to get in there and fiddle with them a little bit. And then just tighten them down. Again, this is why we're doing it upside down, because I don't want all of this towel on the back side of my machine. So we're going to get this out of the way. And then the only other thing I wanted to point out is that when you're picking a font for your towel, you want to make sure that it's a thicker font. If you chose something really thin, it's still probably not going to be great. Look at my machine. Okay, it wasn't working. If you pick something really thin, you're probably still going to have a hard time getting a nice stitch out. You want something a little thicker if you can. And this particular font is thick enough. I forget what it's called. Rainbow something maybe? I can't remember. I believe it's, I'm going to be talking like I don't know, and I don't know. Embroidery Boutique, maybe I got this. Anyway, I like it because both of my younger two kids have a Y in their name, and I don't like it when the Y goes down way far and then, I don't know, your whole design gets off because of that Y. So anyway, so we've got the thing here. Another sort of trick with the easy frames is because it's not a traditional frame, you need to make sure that your needle is not going to hit these metal bars. And you do that by checking where your laser pointer is. Now I know that this one's good because I did that last one, but you know, my laser pointer is hitting here and my frame is here, so I'm good. Now I can go over here and check this side, or you can just trace out the whole design. And I'm close, but I'm not hitting. You don't want these laser pointers. You could easily be too far over and hit this because the machine is recognizing it as a bigger hoop because you have this arm on. But we look good. We're not, you know, we're nowhere near this. I forget how high I came up on the other one, but it does, again, they don't need to match. If you needed them to match, you would want to measure the distance that you came up from this band. But we're not going to do that. So we are going to get it going. I have it, my green is on my 5th needle, even though this is orange. I've talked about this before. I don't set my colors on my machine that often. I just change the needle based on what I need. So if I wanted this to be purple, purple is in my 2nd needle, I would just do a 5 and 2 switch. I wouldn't really go back and set that color. So most people do, a lot of people do. It's just, this is easier for me. So my green is on my 5th needle, and there we go. All right, so we're all stitched up. I'll just take the pins off the top and then peel it off of here. So this is what I'm talking about. If this stabilizer was super sticky, I would snag some of these hoops on this. Now I still might with, you know, this stuff that isn't all that super sticky, but. And then when you go to peel it off in between the letters, it can be really tricky if you've got like a really thick, sticky stabilizer. But this one, since it's so cheap, it just kind of comes right off. Off of there. Honestly, since it's for my own kids, I probably wouldn't even go through and pick all this off, because it's probably just going to come off in the wash. But okay, so there's the back side. And then the front side is pretty much the same deal. This water-soluble stabilizer just rips right off. And then you have to go in between and pick it out. Now it is, again, the reason, you know, why it's called water-soluble is because water dissolves it. So, you know, for me, again, since for my family, I know that when I go to wash this, and I haven't washed these towels yet, but when I go to wash these today, all of this extra will kind of come off. If this were something you were selling or you were giving as a gift, you can squirt it with some water. I think I have a squirt bottle. Yeah. So you can squirt it with a little bottle. You're not gonna be able to see it on my camera, but it's kind of magical. It just kind of disappears right before your eyes. And I still try to get, you know, as much off as I can before I squirt it. But in a pinch, you can do that. You can also, if it's a really intricate design and you can't get in between them, you can spray it with the water, then take it over to your iron and like put a piece of scrap fabric on top of it and iron it, and the heat will dry it and help take that all those little bitty bits of stabilizer in between out. But with this sort of, you know, these bigger spaces, we don't have to do that. So let's see. First of all, let's see if we matched the other towel. And secondly, let's see if this one is a little more straight. So this one's straight. I don't know what I did to the other one. So let's see. Moment of truth. Uh-oh, where's our name? It's on here somewhere. There it is. So yeah, to me this one, actually on camera it looks okay, but it's a little crooked. But we did kind of match them, you know, as far as the distance between here and here and here and here. That looks pretty good. So I've got two sort of more of a seafoam green for my daughter. And I think I'll do like maybe a hot pink for her and more of a script letter. But we'll get those done. Now we've got 4 clean, fresh towels that hopefully won't get stinky after a couple of years. So there you have it. That's how you do towels on a PR 655 using the Jerky Easy Frames. If you guys have any questions, leave them down below and be sure to hit that like button, subscribe button, bell notifications, all the things. Hit all the things.